Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you did something that, looking back, seemed completely irrational?
Oh, definitely.
I'm talking about those moments where, you flinch just because someone moved their hand a little too fast.
Or you make a tiny mistake at work and you find yourself over-explaining it, apologizing over and over again.
Exactly. Until you're literally breathless.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just freeze. Someone yells and you just go mute.
And afterwards, you're sitting there thinking, what is wrong with me? Why am I so crazy?
Right. It's that universal question. We look at those reactions, the flinching, the freezing, and we label them, we call them madness.
Or being dramatic or just, broken. But what if? What if we flipped the script entirely? What if those behaviors aren't glitches? What if they're actually highly sophisticated logical strategies that your brain designed to keep you alive?
That reframe is exactly what we're unpacking today. The idea that what looks like madness from the outside is actually a logic of survival.
And to do that, we're looking at a really unique convergence of media.
We have the album Let It Be Said. That's pronounced Let It Be Said by the musician Ti-Fi. That's pronounced Ti-Fi.
And the sound of this record is, well, it's crucial context. This is not easy listening.
Right.
It's being described as a searing musical manifesto. You've got this driving punk aggression that clashes with this really atmospheric, somatic alt-rock.
And anchoring it all are these deep, raspy, just commanding female vocals.
It's visceral.
It is.
Yeah.
But the backstory is what makes this so compelling.
It's what hooked me immediately. This isn't just a singer writing about her feelings. This album is a direct sonic translation of a text by the writer Steve Delano Garcia.
Specifically his work, The Anatomy of Survival.
Right. But we need to be really, really clear on the nature of that relationship.
Yes. This was not a collaboration.
Not at all. They didn't sit in a studio together.
No. Ti-Fi read Garcia's work, and she said it made her feel logical for the first time in years. It just resonated so deeply that she took his psychological insights and, well, translated them into sound. Garcia had no part in it, which I think makes it even more powerful. It's one artist responding to
another, exactly. And Ti-Fi calls the album a sonic map for the nervous system.
Which is just such a cool concept.
It's a perfect description. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to follow that map. We're going to use Ti-Fi's music and Garcia's text to deconstruct the things we usually hide, hypervigilance, manipulation, fawning, and see the biological logic underneath them.
So let's start where the album starts.
Yeah.
With the brain. The opening track is titled The Guard That Never Sleeps.
Which comes directly from a line in Steve Delano Garcia's text that, frankly, it just stops you in your tracks.
What's the line?
He writes, "Do not call her mad when her mind is doing what it has to do to survive."
Wow. Yeah, that hits hard. Because we usually think of anxiety, a racing mind, as a pathology.
A disorder, something to be fixed.
Or sedated because it's inconvenient, yeah.
Right. But Garcia flips that. He argues that if you've been threatened or watched or corrected for a long time, your thoughts learn to sprint. It's an adaptation.
So if danger used to appear without warning.
Exactly. Maybe after a smile or in the middle of a calm dinner. Then your brain makes the executive decision that it cannot afford to sleep. It becomes a guard.
And Ti-Fi captures that sprinting feeling so viscerally in the track. The rhythm is fast, it's jagged, it really mimics that feeling of your heart beating out of your chest.
And she's very clear in her commentary, this isn't a metaphor for her. She's talking about a specific biological function.
She's talking about the amygdala working a double shift.
Yes.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
For anyone listening who might not be a neuroscientist, what exactly is happening there?
Sure. So think of the amygdala as your brain's smoke detector.
Oh.
Its main job is to detect threats and kick off that fight or flight response.
Okay.
In a safe environment, it only goes off when there's, a bear or a fire or a car swerving at you. But for a survivor of trauma, that smoke detector gets stuck in the on position.
So the threshold for what counts as a threat gets lowered.
Significantly. That's that electric jolt feeling she thinks about, when the vibe in a room shifts by just a fraction.
Right. Most people might miss a subtle change in someone's tone of voice.
But a survivor won't. Ti-Fi mentions living with PTSD, and her brain was just constantly scanning. If she missed a cue, historically, that meant danger.
So that hypervigilance, being jumpy, it's not craziness.
No, it's a high-functioning security system doing exactly what it was designed to do.
It's almost like you're not paranoid, you're just working off a massive data set of past danger.
Precisely. It's historical data applied to the present. The problem, of course, is that the brain keeps applying that data even when the war is over.
Right. It's a survival mechanism that has outlived its use, but it was born from logic.
Which brings us to the body.
Because you can convince your mind you're safe, but the body's a whole different animal.
It really is.
This leads us to the middle of the album, a track called Today Is Not Yesterday. Ti-Fi admits this is the hardest song for her to perform without breaking down.
And it makes sense why. The source text from Garcia here is just devastating, he writes. Trauma is not kept only in memory. It is kept in sleep that breaks, in sudden panic, in a shaking hand.
This is that concept of somatic memory, right? The idea that the body keeps the score.
It is, and it's often the most frustrating part of recovery. Ti-Fi explains that logically, cognitively, she knows the war is over.
She knows she's in a safe house. She knows the abuser isn't there.
But her body, her nervous system is still expecting the door to be kicked in at any moment.
There's a lyric in the chorus that feels like the thesis of the whole song. It's teaching the cells that the threat isn't here.
Teaching the cells, that is such a crucial distinction. We often think of healing as a decision.
Like, I'm just going to move on now.
Exactly. I'm going to let it go, as if it's purely an intellectual exercise. But you can't just decide to regulate your nervous system.
It's a physiological lesson. It's like physical therapy for your emotions.
And a slow one. Garcia emphasizes this lesson is painfully slow. It's not about living in the past by choice. It's about your autonomic nervous system needing time to recalibrate. It's a biological process, not a character flaw.
Speaking of things that get labeled as character flaws, we have to talk about fawning.
The fawn response.
Right. Everyone knows fight, flight, and freeze. Those are the famous ones. But fawn gets overlooked, or worse, judged. Ti-Fi tackles this in the track Survival Rules. And the sound just shifts here. It's aggressive, it's loud, it's punk, it's angry.
Which is so ironic because the behavior she's describing is the opposite of aggressive. Fawning is that tendency to over-apologize, over-explain.
To try to keep everyone happy to avoid conflict.
Yes. It's people-pleasing, taken to a survival extreme. It's becoming small so you don't get hurt.
Garcia's text is so firm on this. He says, do not laugh at her strange behavior when it is clearly learned survival.
And that word strange does a lot of heavy lifting there. Because from the outside, it looks strange to apologize when someone else bumps into you.
Or to flinch when someone offers you a gift.
Right. Or to proactively agree with someone who is yelling at you, just to make it stop.
Ti-Fi talks about having this aha moment about this. She used to hate herself for those reactions. She thought she was just weak.
A pushover.
Yeah. But then she realized she did those things because in her past, speaking up brought punishment.
And there's the logic again. If, in your past, kindness was usually a setup, a way to lower your defenses before an attack, then flinching at kindness isn't weird.
It's logical. It's a correct prediction based on past data.
Or over-explaining. You said you do this sometimes.
I do. Just rambling to make sure I'm understood.
It is the same mechanic. If being misunderstood was historically used as an excuse to hurt you, then explaining yourself until you're blue in the face is a logical defense. You're trying to remove any ambiguity that could be weaponized.
The lyrics in Survival Rules just paint this picture so clearly. She sings, I apologize for the air because you made me feel like I shouldn't be there.
Or the line, I over-explained because the truth was a sin. It reframes the whole conversation. Ti-Fi says these behaviors aren't quirks or weaknesses, they are evidence.
Evidence. I really like that.
They're proof that she lived in an environment where the normal social rules just didn't apply. She had to build her own.
It turns the shame into a sort of badge of honor, like, I survived a nightmare and this is the armor I had to wear.
Exactly, but survival isn't just about dodging physical threats. It's also about navigating psychological traps.
Which brings us to one of the heaviest topics on the album, manipulation.
This is the track. The method.
And the title comes directly from Garcia's insight. Manipulation is not a misunderstanding. It is a method.
That distinction is so vital. We often think of toxic relationships as just bad communication.
Or that the other person just doesn't get it.
Right. But Garcia argues that manipulation is deliberate. It's repeated. And it's designed to make the victim doubt their own memory and their own worth.
Ti-Fi gets really personal here. She mentions her time working in the nightlife, the stigma around sex work, and just feeling cornered.
And that specific shame of feeling like she should have known better.
Yes, like she was stupid for falling for it.
Which is the most common feeling among survivors, that crushing self-blame. How did I let this happen? But Ti-Fi flips that script completely. She quotes Garcia.
What was the quote?
He did not overpower her because she was stupid. He cornered her because she was human.
We were tricked because we were human. That's the line she emphasizes. It wasn't stupidity, it was trust. It was a desire for connection.
And that connects directly to the next track, Performance of Care. This song just dissects the nice guy persona.
Because abusers rarely start with violence. They don't walk up on a first date and scream.
No, they start with charm. They hold the door, they pay for dinner, they listen.
Ti-Fi has this haunting lyric. I stayed because the trap was built to look like a home.
That chills me every time. It describes the gradual erosion of boundaries. Steve Delano Garcia calls it testing boundaries inches at a time. It's a conditioning process.
They push a little. If you resist, they punish you or withdraw affection.
And if you surrender, they reward you with that care. So by the time the trap snaps shut,
You feel like you walked into it willingly.
well, you were guided there step by step through a performance. It exploits the very human desire to be loved.
And what makes it infinitely worse is when other people fall for that performance too.
Yeah. Yes.
This leads us to track 10, The Public Mask. This captures that specific burning rage of hearing someone say, well, he was always nice to me.
Garcia has a term for this that I think everyone needs to learn. He calls it moral laziness.
Moral laziness.
Oh.
Okay, let's unpack that, the heavy accusation.
It is, and it should be. It means that believing the survivor would require the outsider to do something uncomfortable.
Like what?
Well, if I believe you that this charming guy is a monster, then I have to stop being friends with him. I have to change my worldview. I have to admit I was bad at judging character.
It's easier to doubt the woman.
Much easier. It's easy to say, oh, she's just dramatic, or there are two sides to every story, than to accept that the guy who helped you move your couch is terrorizing someone in private.
The lyrics in The Public Mask are brutal about this contrast. He helped you move a couch, but he didn't let the light see the person within.
And Ti-Fi's stance here is that invalidation isn't a neutral act. You can't just stay out of it.
Right.
If you tell a survivor their experience doesn't count because you had a pleasant interaction, you are actively helping the harm continue. You're prioritizing your comfort over their safety.
Which creates this intense isolation. But, and this is why I love this album, it doesn't end there. It moves toward reclamation.
Yes. The shift happens with the track, No Second Performance. This is where the refusal comes in.
The theme is refusing to be small. Refusing to tidy up the evidence. Ti-Fi sings, I'm not doing a second act. I'm moving ahead.
Garcia writes about the pressure survivors feel to move on quickly and quietly. Society doesn't like the messiness of trauma. We want the survivor to be resilient and inspiring, not angry.
We want them to perform calmness so we can feel relaxed.
Exactly. And this song is a total rejection of that. She says, I spent too long performing calm while I bled. She's done making herself palatable.
Which leads us to the finale. The title track, Let It Be Said. Ti-Fi calls this the manifesto.
She describes it as a sonic wall. It's this massive cascading sound. It feels huge.
And she takes that final paragraph of Garcia's text and turns it into a chant.
It synthesizes everything we've just talked about. It challenges every argument, the madness, the stupidity, the bitterness.
I want to read part of that chant because hearing her sing it is an experience. I am not crazy. I was abused. I am not stupid. I was manipulated. I am not bitter. I am telling the truth.
It's a dismantling. It strips away all the labels used to silence survivors. Crazy, stupid, bitter, dramatic. They're all words used to discredit someone.
And by rejecting them, she reveals the reality underneath.
Ti-Fi says that when she performs this, she feels like she's setting down a bag of rocks.
And the album ends with this one final shout, still standing.
And that's the ultimate victory. Despite everything, the survivor is still standing. It's a declaration of existence.
So, stepping back.
Yeah.
What does this all mean for us? Why does a deep dive into this album matter?
I think it matters because it forces us to confront that polite silence. This album and Garcia's text, they're a convergence of art and testimony. They tear down the curtain that protects abusers.
It's a roadmap, really. Like Ti-Fi said, a map for the nervous system. Yeah. Whether you've been through this yourself or you're trying to understand someone who has, it provides a language for things that usually go unspoken.
And it reminds us that healing is nonlinear. As Ti-Fi said, today is not yesterday, but sometimes the body needs time to learn that.
It validates the patience required. So a huge thanks to Steve Delano Garcia for the incredible source text and to Ti-Fi for this powerful musical experience. Again, the album is Let It Be Said.
It's a difficult listen at times, but an essential one.
Before we go, we want to leave you with a thought to mull over. We talked about moral laziness, that choice to ignore abuse because it's uncomfortable to acknowledge.
Right, the path of least resistance.
So ask yourself this: if polite silence is the thing that allows abuse to continue, where in your own life might you be prioritizing your own comfort over an uncomfortable truth?
That is a question worth sitting with.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Take care of yourselves out there.
Stay safe.